On weigh-in this morning, he's a record breaker. James Mcdonald stands above them all with 130 Group 1 wins on a remarkable day at Rosehill. One of the very best riding here shows his class as well. Craig Grills is with us after a gun ride to claim the Wellington Guineas. And Inflamed lights up the Riccarton track on the way to black type success in the South Island Breeders' Stakes. A very good morning to you. Welcome into Weigh In this morning after just a stunning day, particularly across the ditch at Rosehill, where we saw a man very close to our hearts here in New Zealand two men very close to our hearts here in New Zealand do remarkable things in terms of Group 1 racing. Aidan Rodley, Emily Murphy with me in studio. It was kind of a matter of when, not if, around James, and he went bang, bang, bang.
He sure did, and I guess they completed it in just the manner to which we've become so accustomed. It was a very easy watch, it was very comfortable, it happened early in the day, and they didn't just win one, they didn't just break the record. The 3 victories, just incredible scenes.
I think it's one of those days where you're watching the action unfold and you just start, puffing your chest out and be really proud to be a Kiwi, because, we saw James Mcdonald go like 129, 130, which was also his 100th Group 1 win in Australia, and then 131, and so records equal broken, and then on his way to something really special. And of course Chris Waller being right in behind that as well, hits 192 Group 1s now. Where does he end up? These two are going to be the all-time greats of Australasian racing, and on a global scale with real impact as well. We've got to be really proud as Kiwis. Yeah, exactly right. Chris Waller is going to be with us very, very shortly. But first of all, we can take a look back at James Mcdonald's remarkable ride to glory.
Johnny the Sand in front for James Mcdonald, and there's going to be his first winning ride. Here it is, Johnny the Sand the prize. Special Mission, keep it cruising, trying hard. Special Mission, on the inside of it, keep it cruising, they hit it. I reckon it's a special moment for James Mcdonald. I reckon he's got it on Special Mission, his first Group 1. 5 chances, 100 left to go. Buffering Terra Vista, Delectation bursts through with Chautauqua. They hit it, Delectation causes a boil over.
What can I say? Chris Waller's a freak.
Here he comes, Animo. He let loose in a stride, and the colt charges to the lead of the 200. A cosy victory in the English size for Animo.
It's going to be a cockplate round, and James Mcdonald, a century of the very best.
Some good things are worth the wait.
Yeah, it's amazing, like when stars align, don't they? Like it's a race that I'm so fond of, had so much luck in, and to do it in that style, holy hell. I wouldn't have believed it if I even said it, so it's been so good.
Aliana, this great mare ranges up on the outside. It's Aliana trying to beat off Lindemann. Aliana being lifted by Mcdonald, and he closes the first chapter on this historic day.
Damien Oliver and James Mcdonald are equal on 129 Group 1 wins.
James is a great person to work with, and he makes my team's job complete.
Bingo leads at the 300 metres. Observer stoked up by Williams giving chase, and Mcdonald said, "Go on, Autumn Boy!" And Autumn Boy moved up at the 250. Put pay to Observer Bingo. Further back then to Green Spaces running on, but it's Autumn Boy clearing the Rosehill Guineas. This is a win that'll live forever for James Mcdonald. 130 Group 1 winners, and what a performance.
James Mcdonald is the new holder of the Group 1 record for jockeys in Australia, 130.
It's been a big build-up, but a very enjoyable one. I'm very humbled by all the support, all the kind words that have been said. But let's not be these. I ride the best horses in the country. I'm lucky to have the support of all trainers throughout the land, and I can't do it without the greatest support crew I can only wish to have. So, and Guesty and Toddy and my family, pretty special to have my brother here with my kids, and yeah.
And he then got another one on Autumn Glow as well to make it 131. To see the journey, I guess, from that first Group 1 here in New Zealand to then Autumn Glow, Autumn Boy, Aliana as well yesterday. I mean, it's just been remarkable in New Zealand sport, hasn't it?
It sure has. It's a real landmark day and so special. And as we're going to talk to Chris Waller shortly, but it's 2 Kiwis doing it on the global stage, and just the speed with which it's happened, the age, the professionalism, the manner as to which James has handled himself has been quite remarkable.
Absolutely, and don't they share a lot of the same attributes? A lot of that is about ambition, it's around hunger, it's around natural talent. James is so gifted, but the work that he's put into it, you know, honing his craft, but then also to have that real hunger, that appetite for success, which he's now established himself is fantastic. And the other thing that we saw from them both is the humility, is that they're willing to just, you know, pass on attributes for their success onto other people, which is really cool. It's a really Kiwi thing to do, but you know, as I said earlier on, we've got to be really proud Kiwis after watching racing yesterday. We
very much do, and Chris Waller is with us now. A man who James called a freak, and another Kiwi who is doing remarkable things over in Australia as well. Chris, thank you very much for jumping on. A massive congratulations to you. I'll be honest, we were able to watch you while you were watching that piece about James, and I could see your face just lighting up. How special was it for you to be amongst everything, to have your own great day as well, and be alongside him for his record-breaking day too?
Yeah, it was certainly one of those great moments. So, yeah, we were lucky to be there up close and personal, you could say. Yeah, it was an amazing few weeks. People have been talking about it. James hasn't. And it's just been business as usual. And for it to happen so quickly on a big day of racing, it was really special. Yeah, James owned the track, and it was good to see him getting the reception that he deserves. And yeah, as you've already touched on, he's just an amazing person, and yeah, he's the ultimate ambassador for racing, and it's only just beginning, really.
Chris, something that yourself and James have in common is that you're both Kiwis who left New Zealand and made it across the Tasman. Tell me about what that journey's like, and obviously been like for both of you, coming from New Zealand and then establishing yourself in Australia.
I guess, Emily, when you're young, it's just one day after the other, and it's a privilege to be in whatever racing jurisdiction you're in. So that's how we've both seen it, and that's how it's been. Yeah, it's a privilege to be training here in Australia. We've had the opportunities, as me as a trainer and James as the jockey, and yeah, people have been very hospitable to us, and I guess it's home now for me. I'll always be a Kiwi. haven't got a different passport or anything like that. So yeah, it's home, but we still certainly know where we're from. And yesterday was a proud moment for what you just said.
Chris, another aspect of yesterday was obviously between you and James. You broke the TJ Smith, George Moore record of Group 1s as a jockey-trainer partnership. We go through horses such as Via Sistina, Very Elegant, Nature Strip, Animo. We've seen another good one yesterday in Autumn Globe. Boy, that partnership has been so fruitful. What's really made it work?
Just trust. Simple as that. We never had a crossword. So that's pretty hard in a modern day relationship, especially in sport. So yeah, trust. He's a great horseman. He's a great person, and he understands me. He understands our horses, and he's very loyal. So for that reason, we had him on all of the Group 1s yesterday, and yeah, when everything works out together, it's a formidable team and one that we're all proud of.
Chris, with any success comes a huge amount of pressure, which both yourself and James have to deal with. It feels like on an almost weekly basis, especially with champion horses like obviously Autumn Glow. How do you deal with that, both of you? Do you deal with it differently, or are you quite united in terms of how you deal with pressure coming into days like yesterday?
I think we're pretty similar. I let James do his thing. In fact, we spoke on Friday night. And we spoke about the footy. I think the Roosters were playing Penrith, and James in Australia is a Roosters fan. I'm sure he still supports the Warriors, but over here he's a Roosters fan. So I just jumped on Penrith, and well, that's what we spoke about Friday night. We didn't even talk about racing. So we keep life apart from racing, and same as yesterday, he did his thing, or last night he did his thing, and I did mine, and yeah, we'll probably see each other Tuesday morning at the track, and it'll be all about the next week, and just keeping it professional but keeping it simple.
Chris, you kicked off the Group 1 treble yesterday with Eliana. That Randwick win was just, it was a pretty tough sort of performance. Can you just describe what you sort of saw from her yesterday?
It was a hard race to work out because they didn't go overly quick. She took the length of the straight to reel in her stablemate. Sir Delius off her back in the yellow. He was the benchmark horse for weight for age in the spring outside of our stable, and he was getting to her, and then she was strong late. So yeah, it was a good performance. They drew away from the rest, and she's had 2 placings next to Autumn Glow, and last spring she was racing against Via Sistina and running seconds and thirds behind her. So she got one for herself yesterday. She was a Derby winner last year here in Sydney. So yeah, she really is a good mare, and I think the best is yet to come from her.
Have you decided where she goes to next, Chris?
It'll depend on Autumn Glow. If Autumn Glow's going to Queen Elizabeth, I'd be reluctant to send Eliana there. But if Autumn Glow was going to a Queen Elizabeth, then Eliana would probably be our main seed in the Queen Elizabeth.
Boy, Autumn Boy was terrific in the Guineas. Was that an Australian Derby trial? And if so, how did you rate it?
I rated it really well. It was great for the Richies from Christchurch. Yeah, he was beaten last start by She's Alibi, and it just goes to show how good She's Alibi is. So what did it tell us yesterday? Yeah, we know he gets 2,000 metres, but I'm a little bit reluctant to run him into Derby because it can just devalue them a little bit in Australia. The Aussies are all about speed and milers when they're going to stud. So his dad won the race, the Autumn Sun, but we didn't go any further with the Autumn Sun. We brought him back in distance. So where does it take us? Almost to a Doncaster, back to a mile. He's got a pretty light weight, and it would really confirm him as a stallion if he could win that.
We have to talk about Autumn Glow as well, because she completed the wonderful hat-trick we saw yesterday. I mean, what did you say about her? 11 from 11, another devastating win. I know post-race James commented on her on top of the ground, and she just seems to thrive. Nothing could go with her.
She's a superstar, Emily. It's as simple as that. She puts herself in the race. She relaxes. You can get a bit of a gauge here how she's got a massive stride. And yeah, she's beating some pretty good horses with arrogance. So we're still learning about her. Distance range, we're not 100% sure. She's obviously by the Autumn Sun. And as we touched on, he won over 2,000 metres, and that was as far as he went. So yeah, it's just an amazing thing. She's just a star, and she's just a beautiful horse to work with. She enjoys her racing, enjoys her work, and very straightforward.
What kind of processes do the team go through to decide on what you do with her next? Because as you mentioned, there is that sort of question over the distance ranges. What's the process from here to make that ultimate decision?
It's just a matter of getting comfortable, Emily. We will use a bit of data to tell us what we think she's going to get to in terms of distance range. But I think with potential champions, you've got to stretch the boundaries a little bit and be comfortable to do it, and don't be afraid to be beaten either. So I think she will run at 2,000 metres at some stage. It's just a matter of whether it's in the autumn or whether it's next spring. So the owners have to be comfortable with it as well. Obviously, she's a huge investment to them and very important. So yeah, you've just got to bend a little and see if we can stretch her out would be the key.
I know you had a similar experience with Winx, obviously, and the expectation when she went to the racetrack that she would just win, and I was going to say starting to, you've well and truly got that now with Autumn Glow as well. As the trainer, is that a more or less stressful race to be watching when you know you've got the one that everyone's expecting her to win?
Guy, yeah, it's quite unique, but when you've been there before, if we can dare say that, like with Winks, it just makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And it's no different to any part of life. Yeah, once you've had that experience, it's just that little bit better the second time. So even with Winks, we never used to sort of go to the race and say, "Oh, we'll win today." So that's a good approach to take with the Autumn Glow. Yeah, it's one race after the other.
Yep.
Like we saw with Winks, she'd miss the start and she'd still win. She'd run on heavy 10 tracks and still win, and run on quick tracks. And race bias, there was no bias with Winks. So it's just a matter of dealing with each of those. And like yesterday, it was one race after the other. So there's other distractions. She's not the only horse in our stable, and you can concentrate on other horses, which just takes away the distraction from Autumn Glow.
Chris, Winks is in a stratosphere of her own, and that goes without saying. But can you draw any comparisons between Autumn Glow and Winks, even at this early stage?
I guess their determination is similar. The determination to win. Autumn Glow's learnt to win, and it sort of becomes a habit. And you see it with great horses; they just know what to do. Other comparisons. They're very relaxed horses around the stable, very professional in their work. But as soon as work's done, they're just like any other horse. Yeah, and that's about it, really. Obviously, it's hard to compare exactly, but they're both very fast.
Chris, let's just put yesterday behind us now. Obviously, you had other great performances as well. Angel Capital running second in a William Reid. But next weekend, a new Group 1 day. We want to know about I Hope He Wins. What's her program, and how is she settling into the new stable? She's
settling really well. Yeah, Andrew and Lance have done a fantastic job with her, and they've been great to deal with since we've taken her over. So she has just had a pretty straightforward fortnight. She's very professional. She's settled in really well. She's in the same barn as Autumn Glow, and that's a good we haven't fussed over or anything like that. We just treated her as a normal horse, but we've seen some good things. She's had a couple of quiet gallops. She had a trial. James was aboard in the trial. He was very impressed with her, and she'll run in the Vinery this Saturday. 2,000 metres. It's a pretty good field, but yeah, she's certainly got something about her.
Chris, you have the opportunity to win a New Zealand Group 1 as well with Mare of Mount Buller and Chica Mojito. What's the feedback coming in about those two mares heading into that Group 1 assignment at Trentham?
They've both come through the runs well, Emily, and yeah, they've remained at Cambridge Stud there at Karaka. Brendan and Joe and Lance Noble have been great hosts for us, so they both ran really well, which was a fresh up run for them. They had a break in Australia before this race. Chica down on the inside, she was poking through late and probably just peaked on a run with 50 to go, and I think a mile will suit her better. And Mare of Mount Buller out wide. Just had to go back from the draw and took a while to wind up, and a mile will suit her as well. So, yeah, it's exciting for me personally. Yeah, back to Trentham.
Well, we are looking forward to seeing them roll around like we are. I hope he wins, and the rest of your amazing stable, mate. You've given up so much of your time very early on a Sunday. We greatly appreciate it. Massive congratulations to you, your entire team, and pass on our best to James as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
Good man. Thank you so much. Chris Waller there out of Sydney. Great of him to jump on. I know, obviously, Sundays are the day where trainers generally like to spend a lot of time with their family because they don't get to do a lot of that during the rest of the week. So just great of him to give up his time and talk so greatly about James as well.
It's a real privilege, isn't it, to have him on the show on a morning like this after such a landmark day yesterday. We talk about James, but for Chris as well. I mean, the records just keep rolling in terms of what he's achieving. And I guess with James is obviously the athlete and the jockey aboard the horses, but Chris is the coach. And boy, does he do a remarkable job of having his horses, you almost just come to expect short price favourite, Group 1, it will win. It's just so clinical and so straightforward when it comes to their stable.
I reckon that would be one of his most memorable days. I know he's had some big days on a racetrack with Melbourne Cup wins and other big wins, but to get the 3 Group 1s, including Autumn Glow, and getting James Mcdonald to his record says a lot. The 246 is the Group 1 record in Australia that's shared by TJ Smith, Bart Cummings. He's on 192 now, and he's only just turned 53. At age 50, he was on 75, Cummings 57, Smith on 36s in a story put together by the straight.com.au. So what he could end up with could be phenomenal numbers, and geez, aren't they just... Like, he talked about James being a great ambassador for the sport, but both of these guys are New Zealand Racing Hall of Famers who are both doing a super job for racing on a global scale and flying the Kiwi flag.
And they have a lot of similar attributes. They might not sort of recognise it in themselves, but so professional, conduct themselves so professionally, so focused on their career, and very admirable. 2 New Zealanders, the best in the world at what they're doing. That's, as we've talked about multiple times, something we should be incredibly proud of.
Yeah, we absolutely should be. Rightio, there are a couple other races that we need to take a look at out of Rosehill. One is, of course, the big one for the 2-year-olds. It is the Golden Slipper. This one by Guest House from Streisand Music Time in Campione d'Italia. And man, we were celebrating J-Mac's record, but this might have been the ride of the day from Zach Lloyd here.
Well, he gives James a shave as he goes on the inside. There's James in the darker colours. He just gives James a push out of the way as he rolls on by on Guest House. This one co-owned by Tony Clark, who's from Havelock North, one of George Simon's great mates. So congratulations. We're going to claim a little bit of a Kiwi link into there as well. And isn't this remarkable? It's Golden Slipper Day, but it comes in fourth for us, doesn't it?
I know. So the first Victorian winner in the Golden Slipper since 2010, which was Crystal Lily. And for Mick Price, obviously, he's placed in the race twice with Samaretti and Flying Artie. So it really was a matter of patience and timing to finally get a horse that could win. Of the beaten horses, obviously, Streisand was really good.
Yeah,
but Music Time for Gratz Vella, based in Canberra, it was the underdog story. To have come into a race like that and run third off the back of that Black Opal was remarkable. Zach Lloyd, champion apprentice twice, and he's winning on the big stage, the first of the majors, obviously son of Jeff Lloyd, who's such a well-known jockey as well. So some really nice ties into the Golden Slipper.
And the 5th and final Group 1 out of Golden Slipper Day was the Galaxy. This one by Mahuna from Jeddabil, Marzu and Briasa.
This was some sort of race, and Mahuna this was only the 4th start back after winning the Golden Slipper 12 months ago. Obviously in those Emmerich colours, it was just a tough performance because they were right across the track. You saw Briasa there, and you see James Mcdonald on Briasa's back, the grey, and then these runs on the inside with Marzu. They were just spread right across the track, but boy, this is a tenacious spirit late finish from Mahuna, and I thought a terrific race, you know, when they're 6 across the track like that, but a really worthy winner.
It sure was, and I think it's worth mentioning Arrowfield Stud at this point because of the winners on the card. I think of the 10 races, 5 of them were won by Arrowfield Stud sires, 4 of those obviously Group 1s, of course, Snitzel siring Mahuna, and then you had the Autumn Sun with 2 winners. So a really landmark day for them. They sit at the top of that general sires list in Australia, Snitzel on top with the Autumn Sun on the second line, and of course Origin of Love by Snitzel as well, winning our feature race here in New Zealand. So an incredible day, and the Autumn Globe racing obviously in Arrowfield Stud's colours.
Yeah, and just coming back into those first couple of horses, Aliana, we're going to claim that as obviously a Kiwi breed as well, so that's Greg Tomlinson as part of the Nyako Stud, along with Ritual Stud, which is Alan Galbraith and the Thompson family, and then Autumn Boy, who we saw in Glenn Ritchie's colours winning there, which Chris Waller pointed out, bred by Richard Rutherford. So there's such a great Kiwi influence on one of the big days, not only through the trainer and jockey, but in behind the scenes from a breeding point of view as well.
Yeah.
And there was one other Group 1 over in Victoria as well. It was the William Reid Stakes, and excuse me, nice to see a horse that's obviously come here, been successful in the railway, go over there and win a Group 1 over there.
Fantastic for our New Zealand sprinting ranks. Exactly what we needed to happen did unfold there in the William Reid, and what an evolution of Jigsaw. 6 straight victories now, including 2 Group 1 wins, and you'd have to say at the end of last campaign he was going well, but he was sort of out in the woods, so to speak, but he's really hit just sensational form this season, beautifully handled by Cindy Alderson, the preparation. And for Logan Bates, what a horse to sort of catapult you into being regarded as a serious senior jockey in years to come. And obviously he's got nerves of steel. He's handling pressure building into these races and delivering on the biggest stage. Jigsaw's just a great horse for all of the connections, and I just love the story.
Wasn't that a ride though? You know, he obviously drew out a little bit, but he was mindful of staying off the fence. He was 3 wide throughout, and he just didn't want to be back down the inside. It really takes something to back yourself when you're a young Group 1 jockey having a crack like that. But the other thing that really does is franks that railway form, which is just what we needed. This race was the railway was on a second warning back in 2008. Obviously they've changed conditions and maybe got a little bit more, but now we're starting to attract the Aussies. They've run 1 and 2 this year, and now Jigsaw's gone over there to frank the form at Group 1 level, which is just what we need. You know, it's all very well, saying, it's great to have the big prize money and attract these Aussie horses, but what they've got to do is then they've got to go back over to Australia and show that New Zealand racing is, on a par. Certainly, it does bring our ratings up with that race.
And it's not just the winner; it's the first 3 home that are obviously marked, aren't they, on their performances post. So really important that those top 3 in any of those feature races go on and represent our Group 1 race as well. Yeah, well said, both of you. We have to take a quick break here on Weigh-In. On the other side, obviously, we had a big day out of Australia, but there was a big day here as well. We'll take a look at everything from New Zealand next.
Origin of Love, she's put up a very consistent preparation both in the north and the south.
She brings the benchmark for my eye, Sweens, and that's reflected the marketplace. She's a dominant fave now, Origin of Love.
We're set for a start. Ready, and they're racing in the Guineas. Waimea Bay just got it wrong at the start. She was 3 lengths behind them. Sierra Leone on the drift early and getting back as Loose Jewels. Faultless first away. Midnight Train right there early. Flashback, and the favourite Origin of Love is heading forward. About 8 lengths first to last, and the favourite about to head for home. Origin of Love, Flashback niggled at second, third on the inside. Faultless, Clarabo under pressure. Midnight Train needs it out. A lot to go, presents a wider. Loose Jewels into the straight. Origin of Love, the leader, cuddled up. She found a kick. She's 2 lengths in front. Midnight Train running on, and now a lot to go coming after Origin of Love. Origin of Love, though, she's going great guns. A lot to go, in Midnight Train tried to get Origin of Love, but it's Origin of Love in front. A beautiful front-running ride for Craig Grills, and the Guineas goes to Tiakau.
Yeah, it was a really nice ride because he got across down the back, and then he's taken all the speed out of this particular race, which has been the winning of the race.
Grillsy summed it up really well. It looked like he was going to get trapped wide, but she got across quite nicely, and then he slackened the tempo and, sort of turned it on at the right time. So it was a really good, positive ride, and fair play to the horse. She's had a massive season. She's gone down south. We settled her in there early, and she's progressed so well throughout the season. She's come off some really terrible trials up north, and I can't thank the team down south enough, and the team at home as well. She hasn't been easy, but she's just gotten better with racing.
She had a wicked turn of foot. She got down real low in her action and extended really nice. So big thanks to Mark and Sam and the Tiakau team, and great to win another feature race for them.
Yes, indeed, those famous colours of Tiakau getting the success in the Group 2 Wellington Guineas. Origin of Love beating Midnight Train, a lot to go, and Waimea Bay. With us now is the man who rode Origin of Love to success. That is, of course, Craig Grills, our leading rider in the country. Great to have you on, mate. We just heard from, obviously, Justin, Sweens, Sam Burgesson as well, all saying how good the ride was, and it really was. Can you take us inside your eyes and your mind of what you were seeing? It took you a while to get across, but you had to be patient, and once you did, what unfolded from there?
Yeah, morning guys. Thanks for having me on this morning. I'm just lucky to pick up a nice ride like her, and she was a quality filly in the race, and it's, as I've said, she's had a long prep, but they've got it to peak, a couple of times, I guess, and it was a really good effort. But as to your question, it probably looked as like I've had to do a little bit of work to get across, and a little bit of time to get there, but there's nice long run into that first bend from the mile start at Trentham, and it didn't feel like I actually had to work too hard to get there. I just slowly let her slide forward, and once I was able to get to the front, she was actually she switched off really well, and I was probably from the 1,000 to the 600 able to get some really nice like not too slow sectionals, but just a nice breather, and she was able to sort of get them off the nickel as I've straightened up, and I really didn't even have to go for her, just a couple of slaps on the neck, and at about probably just before the 200, and she's just done the rest really. So just really lucky I was on a really good filly on the day.
Craig, she comes across like a really straightforward, gutsy sort of filly that just puts herself in the race. What's the jockey's perspective on a bit more of her personality and demeanour?
Yeah, her personality is, because I have ridden her previously, and she is a little bit spicy, I guess you could say the word. She can be a little bit of a handful. She was quite on the toe before the race and behind the barriers. But yeah, once she actually got jumped away and got from the barrier, she's actually got into a really nice rhythm, and like I say, she switched off really good.
Craig, that day you did ride was New Year's Day, and that was over 2,000 metres in the Sir Patrick Hogan Stakes. This time round, you're at a shorter distance, 1,600 metres. Can you just, has she grown up a little bit, and what do you think is her best distance? Yeah,
well, I think, they were sort of ultimately aiming for Oaks Path at that point, and using the 8 carat to sort of, the Sir Tristram fillies to get her, go towards that path. I don't know if she's probably almost a little bit too brilliant to get the trip at this stage anyway. So I think back to the mole yesterday was probably her pet distance and really suited her. So I'm not saying she won't get a trip in the future, but I think at this point she's probably definitely more suited to the mole.
Craig, that was obviously the feature race win. You had a number of other rides on the card. I don't want to put you on the spot, but for people at home, is there a horse that we can follow heading forward from that Trentham meeting yesterday?
She was definitely the standout of the day. I sort of had a couple others. What You Wish For. He was a nice second. I think he's going to back up in the Awapuni Gold Cup next week, and I think he was at the mole yesterday, and probably just they thought he might have just peaked. So he's going to be on the quick back up, and I think that he's proven at the trip, and I reckon he'll be a good ride in the Awapuni Gold Cup next week.
Speaking of next week, obviously we've got Group 1 racing for the 2-year-olds over the 1,400 metres, and Ronaldo looks like a really nice chance off what was a pretty good performance last weekend. He seems like he's very professional. He's got a lot of upside. What's the excitement levels like heading into that Group 1?
Yeah, I can't wait to ride him next week. I'm really, really looking forward to riding him. He's got a lot of upside, and what he's doing at the moment now is a bonus. Like he's obviously he's only a 2-year-old, but he's a beautiful big colt. You wouldn't think he's a colt. He's so relaxed in his nature and just very raw in his ability, but he's got a ton of it. So really looking forward to next week. And his 2 runs have been on sort of wettish ground, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him run on a good track. And I see there is a bit of rain forecast for next week, which isn't going to worry him. But like I say, I trialled him at Foxton on a reasonably good track, and he was really electric on that. So I'm really looking forward to him to next season as well as a 3-year-old.
So that's 2 of the 3 features for next weekend. The other one is the Group 1 New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeder Stakes. You've picked up the ride on Captured by Love there. What are you making your chances in that?
Yeah, really good. I actually went into the track this morning and galloped her. She worked this morning with the 2-year-old, Tiakia's 2-year-old, Cease and Desist, and excuse me, and she worked brilliant. She was strong through the line, and really, really happy to be on her, to pick up the ride on her for next weekend as well.
Mate, just on you, off the back of obviously winning the premiership last year, you have a 34 lead, I think, in the premiership at the moment. What was your approach off the back of such a successful last season into this season, and is there anything that you've done differently this year to continue the form that you're in?
It's just, again, I sort of can't pitch myself how things are going. Everything's going really, really, really good. I'm very lucky and in a privileged position, but just the same as every season, really. Just I'm at most meetings during the week and here, there, and everywhere, and I'm getting on gun rides. That's the big thing. You obviously, as everyone knows, you can't pick them up and carry them. So honestly, just having the really good stock underneath me. So just getting on plum rides most meetings, and it's making all the difference.
The only thing now is, Craig, senior jockeys like to take a little bit of a winter holiday. If you're going to be in the mix for that premiership again, you might just have to ride out the season. What's your approach to the closing sort of third of the year?
Yeah, well, we'll get to hopefully get to the end of May anyway, and then see where the standings are then. But I'll definitely be liking to hopefully get away somewhere. Hope to go somewhere nice and warm, and in June or July will be good if I can.
I think you would deserve that, very much so. I know you're riding again today at Matamata as well, so safe riding there. Congratulations on yesterday, and very much appreciate you jumping on this morning, mate. Go well.
Cool. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Good man. You too. Thank you very much for jumping on. Craig Grills there, the winner of the Wellington Guineas on board Origin of Love, who beat Midnight Train a lot ago and Waimea Bay.
I tell you what, one thing that Chris Waller said before, just about the winks and knowing how to handle a champion, is you get accustomed to doing things, and it makes it easier when you have to do something the next time round. We're seeing that with Craig Grills in his approach. You know, he's got that champion jockey title, and now he's just gone to another level. He's riding very well. I thought this was a super ride from him yesterday on Origin of Love. Interesting to get the intricacies about her, but she was really strong right throughout this. He did, ride a beautiful race. She was a Group 3 winner in the spring of the Watercree Stakes, run 5th in a Group 1 1,000 guineas and behind Wellington and Company. And then she's just been rock solid all round that Lowland, Eulogy, Sir Patrick Hogan Stakes. You know, she's a really nice horse, but obviously with the benefit of a lovely ride too. Yeah,
and you just love her racing style too. The way she goes forward, she puts herself in the race. She always finds that kick off the corner, and she could have sort of been season over with a 2,000 metre run that didn't, maybe she wasn't quite suited to the 2,000 metres, and that sort of brings that preparation to an end. But to be so versatile and well handled, obviously, that she can drop back in distance, find her best form, and sprint away with a feature at the end of Premier Racing is a credit to her, and I think she'll be a nice horse heading forward. Obviously, a $440,000 Magic Millions Gold Coast yearling. A 4th win in the Guineas for Tiakau. Most recent was Cognito for them, who raced yesterday, of course, at Riccarton. So that was 2023. So some nice storylines surrounding that.
I thought Midnight Train was really good in running second, and then you got to give credit to a lot of Go, who's come up from the South Island and ran a terrific race to get a Group 2 placing as well. But yeah, some nice runs in a good race. Unfortunately, it probably wasn't the strength of a Wellington Guineas that was seen in the past, and so. You know, where does this race fit on the program? You know, last year this was New Zealand Oaks Day. It was a great second string race, but you know, there's a lot of big races in the north now, in NZB Kiwi and things that maybe are just taking away, you know, the top level depth out of this Wellington Guineas.
The other horse just to keep an eye on out of that race, I think, still is Waimea Bay. Obviously, she missed away and she got back and she made OK ground. I think there's still a lot of finishing to do with Waimea Bay, and potentially as an older horse, once she's had that time to mature, she's going to be one that you can follow heading forward. She's got quality. Yep,
I think she could be a good filly, all right. You mentioned Midnight Train and a lot ago, Aidan. Well, we can hear from the beaten jockey, starting with Aaron Leighton on board Midnight Train.
Oh, look, he's gone fantastic. The way this horse has developed in 4 runs is phenomenal. Obviously, Mr. Ralph Manning does a fantastic job training, and he's been a good Gavel House purchase, but the horse is just going leaps and bounds. He's really into gear now, and he definitely didn't disgrace himself out here today. I think he's got a big future ahead of him, this horse.
Yeah, he's gone lovely. Dropped into a nice spot. Got him into the clear area at top of the straight, which, watching his replays, I thought he was better in the clear. He's fought to the line and he's been gallant.
Good run. She's hit the line really well after getting held up early in the straight, and the drop back from 2,400 metres was a good effort.
The beaten jockeys there out of the Wellington Guineas. A few other races that we want to take a look at, starting with the other feature on the card. It was the listed Lightning Handicap. This one by Platinum Attack from Navigator, Slipper Island and Miss Jones. A really good performance, I thought.
All the stars aligned, didn't they, for Platinum Attack? And he's sort of been promising a performance like this, and was able to deliver a really dazzling win, brought that 3rd through the King's Plate, and was just bad tracks and barrier draws, and things hadn't been quite going in his favour. And I think back to the Trentham track as well really suited Platinum Attack. Obviously was able to just switch off and then show that really good turn of foot late. What a horse for connections. $37,000 weanling purchase from Australia, and now a 7-time winner with 400k in the bank. A pretty good success story when it comes to Platinum Attack and Lisa Latta.
Yeah, Neville McAllister and of course Lincoln Farms, the streets involved there. I thought it was a really nice ride from Bruno Quiroz. He was able to put this horse into maybe a little bit of a handier position. A lot of the early sort of spring stuff, we saw Platinum Attack getting a long way back, but you know, the writing was on the wall with that King's Plate placing last time out. He's been racing in very good company. It's just nice to see him knock off a stakes win. You know, congratulations to Lisa Latta and the team around her for getting that one. Navigator was good in second, a horse who'd run a placing in a Telegraph and just continues to race really well. Outside that.
Yeah, I thought Miss Jones ran well out of grade. Obviously, Miss Jones is a horse that we've been following, has been so beautifully placed, but met some pretty good company there. And
Slipper Island made up really good ground at his favourite track as well. So
plenty to take out of it.
Certainly. Here are some of the beaten jockeys out of the race, starting with Michael McNabb.
Super. Come out a bit awkward, so I didn't really want to be that far back, but he tracked up nice and hit the line well. He loves this joint, so he's run well again.
Massive effort from her, obviously a big step up in grade from her, but she's handled the occasion well and finished not far off some really handy horses.
I thought he went a very good race. Fresh up today, came off a 2 good trial and been here with a strong feel. Look, she jumped, got on the fence, travelled good and top of the straight, finished off strongly. I think when the trucks start getting a bit wetter, she'll be even better.
Some of the beaten jockeys there out of the listed Lightning handicap. We move along to the St Ledger, the distance feature. This one by latest model from Freebell, who finished off very quickly. He's a battler and not so unusual.
Gary Vile and Ellen Nicholas were really in form yesterday, and they combined with this win. Came from reasonably far back, actually, compared to some of the others who filled those top sort of placings in the run. Made a long, sustained run from that position and came up the centre of the track and just got home best over the 2500.
The first 4 in running have run 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, and the horse who was 6th in running has run 2nd. So for the shape, it was a really impressive performance. Alan Nicholas doing a really good job yesterday, and Gary Vile having terrific success as well. It's a pretty intricate trophy, that St Ledger, and Alan Nicholas put up a little post last night with the trophy on social media, which was pretty cool. It shows it just meant a fair bit to her too.
The good behind-the-scenes content that we like. One more race to take a look at out of Trentham, the Open 1200. This one by Who Knows from What You Wish For, Bridal Train and Lochinora.
Sorry, Emily, you got me. I'm waiting for your social media posts and behind the scene. That's what we're waiting for most of all here on Weigh In this morning. Who Knows, terrific. Obviously known best for the winter performances. You can see it there in the green and white stripes coming through. 3 off the fence. You know, on top of the ground, you know, we know she's got quality. What You Wish For was pretty good, and you heard from Craig Rawls. This horse goes on to the Awapuni Gold Cup next weekend, but Who Knows? Wow, she's come back in great order. Congratulations to Niall Quinn, who I think was at the Castle Point Beach Races yesterday.
Yes, exactly right. That obviously one of the sort of, we don't get to watch that on trackside obviously, but looks like a great day out. But what great training effort with Who Knows, and good to get that info this morning around What You Wish For.
Just quickly, before we get to a break on Craig Grills, just a point that he picked up. He's ridden yesterday, flowing back to Matamata, riding today.
Rode track work
this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, even people inside the industry would realise, and he's not the only one who does this, but the work that those men and women who are in the saddle do every single morning.
And the strappers, the stable staff, the trainers, how often do we talk to Sam Burgesson on a Sunday morning and he's in the office? It just doesn't sleep. If you need to be at the races, and these horses have to gallop on certain days, be it a Sunday, a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you've got to get up and get the work done.
It just shows the preparation going into a Group 1 race that he's putting in particular himself. You know, he wants to know how that horse is going. He's gone and got a feel of it, and so
I should add, we should add that he flew his own plane to Trentham as well, just to add to his list of skills.
What can't he do?
No, exactly right.
Rightio, we will take a quick break again on Weigh In. On the other side, we will take you over to Riccarton to take a look at their day of racing.
The Donaldson Brown South Island Thoroughbred Breeders' Stakes, they're off. Betty Spaghetti jumped away well, going forward inflamed with Pour the Wine, and Airs Back pushes forward. Not far away, Cornello, then third Decree and Ziggy Stardust. Then Champagne Linda, Contemplation Bay. Aladdin's Gem settles back on the inside. Then came Jaffa, Lucelli in the back few. 2 lengths away, Say Satono with Little But Fierce, and toward the end, the Entertainer. 400 to go. Airs Back from Inflame, then Cornello looking for room. Pour the Wine is peeling for its big finale, then third Decree and wider Champagne Linda. It's 300 to go. Inflamed up and goes past Airs Back, then Pour the Wine and third Decree. The leader is Inflamed from Pour the Wine, then third Decree. Inflamed and Pour the Wine. These are the two. Inflamed coming clear, a half length in front. Inflame wins the Breeders. It's Notago Party yet again. Beat home Pour the Wine. Inflamed on the 6-day backup. Corey Campbell, Brian and Shane Anderton from Wingatui. They won this race 2 years ago when Burgee did it.
Wonderful training effort and a super performance from this mare as well on the quick turnaround from a wide gate, having to face the breeze throughout, but under Corey Campbell, when challenged by the favourite, she has lifted and has won pretty comprehensively in the end. Inflamed.
I was a wee bit doubtful whether to start her again, and Dad said, "Mate, we're going. She's a mare, we need, that black type." So he was right, and yeah, she got the job done.
Really good to get the win here on today. I've had quite a bit to do with her from breaking her in as a young one and all of that. So it was really rewarding to get a win like that on today, and it was good to do it for Brian and Shane.
Yeah, fantastic win there from Inflamed in the South Island Thoroughbred Breeders Stakes down at Riccarton. Beat Pour the Wine, third Decree and Champagne Linda. With us now on the show is Shane Anderton, who of course trains in partnership with his dad Brian. Shane, thank you very much for jumping on. We just heard you say that Brian said we're going to the race. You always got to listen to Dad, eh?
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of experience, so you got to take that on board.
How's Dad doing, and what was his reaction to the win yesterday, Shane?
He was pretty happy. It was he rang me up on the way home last night and said he had a couple of glasses of wine, and he was pretty chuffed.
You spoke about that all-important sort of black type, but obviously a Stewards win in the spring, and now to come back in the autumn and win a South Island Breeders' Stakes. Just tell us a little bit about this mare and what makes her tick.
She's just getting better with age, I think. She's got such a great constitution. She just, she never missed a night between runs. Travelled up to Christchurch on the Friday, and Saturday morning she was looking for a breakfast. That was a big thing in backing her up. She's such a good doer, so, she's been a great mare.
It must have made a difference getting back on top of the ground as well. She hasn't had that for a little while, has she?
No, I've always felt she was better with on top of the ground, and the way the summer was down there, Wayne, and I think it was pretty genuine away from New Zealand that we're on sort of wet ground all the time. So yesterday, I think the track might have come back to us 3, so she really appreciated it.
One thing I notice about her record and those 4 wins that she's had across her past 8 starts is the distance ranges. Every single win has been at a different distance. You managed to get her at her very best at 1,200 metres, and then yesterday, of course, the mile. What do you feel is her pet distance, or is she just so versatile?
She's pretty much a sprinter mile. She's keep her fresh. She's got a lot of speed, so when she's fresh, she can jump the gates and land a length in front. Corey done a good job yesterday. He sort of got hung out a wee bit early, but he sort of got across and got a wee bit of cover, and he sat on her as long as he could, and she really hit the line strong.
That was, I think, the 6-day backup from Wingatui on the Sunday, now into the Saturday. Brian's not going to say go again in 7 days' time up to Trentham for a Group 1 New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeders' Stakes, is he?
No, we wouldn't be that tough on her. She'll probably have an easy week or so, and there's some still nice racing coming up in the autumn, like the Easter Handicap still coming on up there, and there's still some nice races, so we'll just see how she comes through it, and we'll pick one out from there.
The team also had a runner in that Hororata Gold Cup, Bauble finishing in second. Just tell us your thoughts post that run.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking before the race it may have been a wee bit firm for him, but we were in a really great race. He was probably in front of Stride before the post, and he's probably in front of Stride after, but the winning post counts. So he won a really good run. So, as the autumn goes on, he's a bit of cut in the ground, he's going to be pretty competitive.
Yeah, what's next for this one?
Well, just see how he comes through it. You know, we've got a few options down here. We've got the Ribbon Cup. We've got still some nice races in the autumn up there at Riccarton. So we'll pick one out when he gets through this run, and we'll go from there.
Geez, just going back into what we saw from your Breeders' Stakes winner, Gibberlines, what a job he did for you guys at White Robe. Can you just sort of maybe talk us through his stallion career and the highs that he had?
He's been such a good sire, and it was unfortunate that a lot of the breeders didn't think he was commercial enough, and he was just lacking mares. He didn't get a lot of mares, but every week there was one popping up here and there, and they won from 2-year-olds right up to the staying distances. So you can't get a much more versatile stallion.
And what about the new stallion, Alf Layla, who's come into White Robe Lodge? What's the word on him?
Yeah, he's done a really good book of mares this year. So it's probably the most mares we've had at a stallion down this way for quite a while. So he's still a bit racehorse looking, but he's filling out nicely. He's got some lovely breeding there. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed indeed. Thank you so much for jumping on, mate. We do appreciate it. Congratulations with Inflamed yesterday, and go well.
Yeah, thank you.
Good man. Shane Anderton there, of course, trains in partnership with his dad, Brian, and they were successful in the South Island Thoroughbred Breeders' Stakes with Inflamed, beating Pour the Wine, Third Decree and Champagne Linda.
Just a really nice performance by, like you say, it was 1,200 for a stewards, 1,500 metres at Wing. That was my little concern. This was a step up in company and distance, but you got on speed, was able to lead throughout at Wingatui, last Sunday, and was able to get on speed and really just kick strong. I thought it was another top quality performance by, I don't know if she's finished winning yet either. She's got so much upside. And
we talk about distances, but when you look at the track conditions as well, obviously the Stewards was on a heavy 9 and yesterday was on a good 3, and she's been winning on soft 6s and 5s in the meantime. Won 4 of her past 8, 50% win rate across her past 8 starts. What a great mare she is for Connections, and it was a gutsy performance on top of the ground yesterday.
Isn't there some good things going on with the stable, with the Andertons? They had a really good White Robe Lodge day, and then some good things going on in South Island racing. We talked about that Easter coming up, obviously Canterbury Gold Cup. Bauble could end up being a horse for that type of race yet as well. So, and then he was silking Riverton Cup. There's a lot to look forward to in the South at the moment too.
Certainly is, and a few other races that we can just take a little bit of a glimpse at in terms of a bit of vision and speak about anyway. Wits End, I thought, was a very strong performer on the card.
Yeah, we saw Leith Innes in our coverage from Sydney yesterday, hopping in behind a couple of those Chris Waller interviews, and of course he's a co-owner here. But Wits End, I thought, was a really solid performance. He just seems to, we were a little bit afraid about his willingness and his courage in the past, but down there with Terry Ray, she's been able to bring out the best. Maybe it's a slightly easier company that he's up against, but geez, he's putting some solid performance in.
He sure is, and obviously Texas Dolly came with the challenge. Another co-worker of ours, and Michael Guerin, of course, in the ownership of Texas Dolly. Yes. So it was certainly an interesting finish, but when it came to Wits End, obviously, just found its real place there. And sometimes change is as good as a holiday, isn't it, with horses heading down south? A different training environment. It's not as commercial as maybe being at one of the big tracks up north, so it can often improve. But a lot of nice winners on the card to follow. Including
this one, Purlino, which was a momentous occasion for Tiako Racing, their 100th winner for the season. Hayley Hessman doing a good job on a filly who had run really well in black type prior to that. And of course the other big one earlier in the day was Tina Komanyagi hitting 500 New Zealand wins, or 500 wins for her career, because she started here on Henry Thomas, and she's got such a great story, Tina. She came here basically on travel, ended up working in North Canterbury, and hopped on a horse, and the Parsons loved what they saw. Said she had great hands, and hasn't she really established herself as a leading light in South Island in the riding ranks?
The horses just run for her. She's just got such a great affinity with the horses, and she can get the best out of them each and every time. And when you look at the overall jockeys list in terms of results, she's right up there, ultra competitive, and she's doing that from the South Island. So full credit to her, and a very well-deserved milestone.
Well, as we go to the break, we can celebrate Tina Komniagi's 500th winner a little bit more. We'll be back shortly, but first of all, here is that stunning moment.
PC Pussycat with Kindling Spark, then Complicate, Wider Words of Mine. Kindling Spark with PC Pussycat, then Henry Thomas. Letting down Words of Mine out wider. It's Kindling Spark from Henry Thomas, then Words of Mine. Kindling Spark with Henry Thomas. Henry Thomas up to Kindling Spark, and Henri Thomas will win the first.
He travelled a little bit more comfortable on the vet. He's still got his flat pulse as he usually does. But once he's straightened, I thought he'll have enough gas in the tank to pass them all.
Welcome back into Weigh In, and just a few minutes left of the show, so we've got to get straight into our moments of the week. And Aidan, I'm pretty sure I probably know what yours is.
Yeah, no real surprise here, Guy. Thanks for letting that out of the bag like everyone expected. But for me, it's win number 130. Autumn Boy, the moment in the Guineas when he's burst clear. We're going to take a little bit of New Zealand behind it. Richard Rutherford bred, and of course Glenn Ritchie owned. But this was all about James Mcdonald and this massive achievement for one of New Zealand's greatest jockeys. And yeah, we were just talking off camera, just he didn't really give it the full James Mcdonald celebration, but yeah, it's so good. And for one of our all-time greats he'd levelled up with Damien Oliver in the previous race, and then goes and gets the record for himself. He added one more for good measure later on, but just such a cool moment. Yeah, it's my moment of the week as well, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is the sort of achievement that for me has to win Halberg Sportsman of the Year. He is remarkable, James Mcdonald, and he's already won, I don't know how many Group 1s in this season. They'll probably take it on the calendar year, because I think that's what they do with the Halberg, so it's going to be what he wins in 2026, so to speak. But look, he's winning in Hong Kong, he's winning in Saudi Arabia, he's winning in Australia, and not only is he winning, he's winning all the time. He's just remarkable, and I think it's about time that the public realised what he's achieving. He's an elite sportsman. He's up with exactly what he is. Yeah, undoubtedly. 100%. And so I think it's actually up to the industry a little bit as well to sell that to the public who don't necessarily watch horse racing all the time or necessarily understand what his achievements are, because we know. But I think we need to sell it to them a little bit more. I feel an opinion piece coming on Sport Nation Radio.
I think the biggest thing is
Hold your horses.
I mean, how do you get away from the fact that he is regarded and has been awarded the best jockey in the world? How many Kiwis are the best in the world? And he's done it 3 times. Yeah. So I guess, to your point, how do we make that happen? How do we get him that recognition at the Halbergs? So it's up to NZTR essentially to nominate him for a Halberg Award, and they've obviously done that, and he was a finalist a couple of years ago. I think when he was a finalist in 2024 or 25, whenever it was the year of the Olympics. He was up against Hamish Kerr and those guys who, by saying what I'm saying, I'm not trying to take away from their achievements because they were remarkable. This year, though, won't be an Olympic year. The only enormous sports event that we'll have is the Football World Cup, and with respect to the All Whites, I don't think they're going to go and win the World Cup. And so this is the prime opportunity for him to be put up in the lights that he deserves, to win at Halberg, and for racing and James Mcdonald to be celebrated in the same way. And dare I say it, even Chris Waller as Coach of the Year as well. Agree. Heard it here first. Needs to happen. My moment of the week is, I could have gone with the same as you guys, but I went with Jigsaw. I thought that it was awesome to see the Railway form, Frankton, Australia. A great win for a Kiwi in Logan Bates, and for Cindy Alderson, beautifully managed horse. Just what we needed for our Kiwi sprinting ranks, and a great story surrounding Jigsaw as well. Yeah, I love that moment too. That's really cool.
Well, after my rant, I've taken up pretty much all our time, so we only have a very small amount of seconds for our Weight Watchers. Emily, starting with you.
Yeah, Richard Litt trained Cafe Florian. If you go back to Rosehill yesterday, the Derby Munro made really good ground on the rail after having a pretty unlucky run in transit. Only second up. I think there's a good bit of improvement to come and could be nicely placed next start.
I went with the Mark Brooks trained Flamenco. I thought the run at Trentham yesterday was pretty good for second against the race shape.
And I'm with Shoe Bill out of Pukekohe for Andrew Forsman. Michael McNabb rode and flew home late, a little bit green at times, but was charging towards the line. Rightio, that is all we've got time for after a historic day in racing. Congratulations again to James Mcdonald, Chris Waller, and everyone who had a good winner yesterday. It's Group 1 weekend again here in New Zealand next weekend. We'll see you same time next week.